Hi guys! So after weeks of anticipation and a lot of exciting build up and tension, this weekend was the Once Upon a Time season 4 finale. Now I feel like I've been waiting for this for ages, which in reality I actually haven't since the show only came back in March, but I can't believe it's now actually over and I now just want to sit and talk to someone about it. So I'm going to talk to the camera and you guys can hopefully talk back to me about your thoughts. Overall, I really loved the episode. I said in a recent video actually that they had a lot of work to do to make it of the standard of the season 3 finale for me, because the season 3 finale of Once Upon a Time is just one of the greatest things that I've ever seen. I love it so much and I could just watch it. I watch it a lot just for fun because I love it, so they had their work cut out to make it as good as that, and I think that in a lot of ways they did. I thought that it was absolutely amazing. So the first thing that I particularly liked about this finale was that it was very much centred on Henry saving the day, and I feel like we haven't really had as much of that lately as we used to have, and I feel like the entire premise of Once Upon a Time was really built around Henry discovering, you know, who his family were and bringing them back together, and that's happened kind of a few times over, and then we've had reverse situations where he's been lost in Neverland and his family have had to go to him, and it's, I feel like that's the kind of train that we've followed through the show up until this point, and then through season 4 I feel like we haven't really had as much kind of Henry stuff, so I really loved that it was Henry saving the day in this instance. I read a lot of stuff online before the finale after we saw the promo last week, and everyone realised that it was going to be a kind of like role reversal thing in this alternate universe. I saw a lot of people complaining and saying, oh no, I don't like the idea of that, oh, you know, Jennifer Goodwin will be rubbish as an evil queen, it's just not the same and everything. But I actually loved it. I've mentioned this time and time again, I'm a huge fan of alternate universe, parallel timeline kind of things, hence my love for things like Once Upon a Time and Lost. I love shows and books and films where there are two different versions of reality that you can choose from. And so obviously Once Upon a Time is built on that as it is. It's a show where these characters can exist, you know, or have existed as different people in different worlds. So they just took that one step further and did a kind of role reversal with it, which I actually thought worked really well. I particularly loved Regina in the Snow White bandit kind of role. I thought that Lana Parrilla is just an amazing actress, and I think that Regina is one of the best characters. I mean, we all know that my favourite characters in this show are Emma and Hook, but Regina comes a very close second, because we'll say that Emma and Hook are joint first, and then Regina comes a very close second, because I just think that she's a fascinating character. In whatever situation she's put into, Lana Parrilla just plays it so well, and I feel like that kind of softer version of her, where she was the more Snow White-esque character in the Enchanted Forest, worked really well. I also loved the kind of softer, less vicious pirate version of Hook. I felt that worked really well. I think Colin O'Donoghue just played that to perfection. I think my main kind of positive about this episode was the acting. I felt like they all played it really well, and I loved seeing him in that slightly more kind of vulnerable state. More to come on that later. I was slightly worried, I have to say, about Jennifer Goodwin as the evil queen, not because I didn't think she could do it, because I love Jennifer and I think she's a great actress, but I just felt that it would be weird to see, but I actually think that she handled it really well. I like that she did it in a more kind of soft, understated kind of way, because I actually think that that made her a lot creepier. I think if she tried to do the very loud and in your face, the way that Regina was a very kind of loud and in your face character, that might have felt like a kind of not so good imitation of the original evil queen, whereas I felt that because she did it in this very quiet, softly spoken way, she was actually really creepy and really intimidating. So I think big props to Jennifer Goodwin for that, because I thought she did such a good job with that. Rumpel as the sort of White Knight, the light one character, I thought was hilarious. I was sort of intrigued in the way that Robert Carlyle spoke, because it felt like he was speaking in the sort of dark one, Rumpelstiltskin lilting kind of way, but as, I don't know, but as the knight. So I don't know, there was something kind of strange about that, but it was actually nice to see what could have happened with him and with Belle had he let go of all the darkness. And I think that's what was really nice about, I'm just going to skip forward a little bit to the end of the show, when Belle said to him when he was kind of on his deathbed, you know, you could have had that, it could have been real if you just resisted the temptation of, you know, the darkness, then we could have had this, we were married, we could have had a happy marriage, we could have, you know, been together and been happy and had a family, and that could have been your reality, but you chose not to have it. And I thought that was really interesting. I liked the fact that she was just pointing out that he thought the only way you could have his happy ending was to have the author completely role reverse and make it that villains got their happy ending. The thing that had concerned me about the sort of Enchanted Forest scenes was the fact that they wouldn't remember each other and they wouldn't know who each other sort of were. And so that had kind of concerned me from the Emma and Killian perspective, because I was really looking forward to some really cute scenes with them in this episode. I'd kind of built myself up to expect that there were going to be some like really nice moments with them, which there were. I wasn't actually let down in terms of that. I just was thinking, oh, if they don't remember each other, it won't be the same. But what I think that they did really cleverly was that they had Emma remember who he was, but with him not remembering who she was, it allowed us to really, really see her true feelings for him, because that kind of love was just like, the love for him was just shining right out of her, and it was just adorably cute. I loved that when he didn't even remember who she was, he still sacrificed himself for her, and that it just showed me that if they actually ever dared to kill off Killian Jones / Captain Hook, I don't think that I could ever forgive the writers if they did that, because it was traumatic enough to have him killed in a fictional version of the world, never mind the actual storybook reality. I loved those moments between them. I love that kind of role reversal sort of thing of her being the really flirtatious one who's in control of the situation and him being the slightly more guarded one. But I just thought that it was really, really cute. As I say, I think Colin played that part so well, because it was really interesting to see this different version of his character and what could have become of him if things were different. And it was just so cute. And when he died, I just couldn't bear it. One of my favourite scenes in the entire episode was the scene between Emma and Regina when Henry has taken Emma to see Regina and say like, this is my other mum. I thought those scenes were really funny when he kept calling her mum and she was like, what are you doing, child, get away from me. I enjoyed those scenes, but I really loved that moment where just after Killian had died, I can't believe I just said that sentence calmly. So just after he died and Henry took Emma to see Regina out in the forest, and they had that conversation about how important it is to spend time with the people that you love and tell them that you love them. And that was just lovely, because it was the first time that we've seen Emma actually admit to how much she is in love with him, and she's now lost him and it's just awful. And I loved that moment, because I think not only was it a moment that was really nice for the Captain Swan relationship, because it was her finally kind of properly admitting her true feelings, but it was really nice for the kind of friendship between Emma and Regina, which I really liked, because even though Regina didn't know her in that world, it felt like this real connected moment where they were being really honest with each other, and I just thought that was lovely. So I really thought that scene was very well written. I thought Jennifer Morrison and Lana Parrilla played it beautifully. Jennifer Morrison just made me cry. It was just so sad, because you could see her realising the mistakes that she'd made and the fact that she might not get the opportunity to tell him how she felt. Speaking of which, we'll get to that in a moment, but yeah, so I loved all of that. As I say, I really enjoyed that entire portion that was set in the alternate reality. And then again, I really loved that it was Henry that saved the day at the end. I love that it's Henry who is the new author. I think that's amazing. I would just like to say though, when it comes to the end of the episode, could Henry not just rewrite that? I know he broke the quill and said no one should have that much power and all that, but could he not just get another quill and rewrite the ending of the episode? I'd be on board with that. Anyway, I really loved that. I love that it's Henry who's taking over. I don't think there could be a better character to take over that role than Henry, so I think that was very nicely done. Cut back to Storybrooke, where we're all alive and well, and the scene in the loft. Right, I need to just discuss this for a moment. That was almost the perfect scene. It was almost perfect, and I have a few scenes that have happened throughout the history of time in my favourite films and TV shows that I would class as a perfect scene. The season 3 finale, when Emma and Hook are sitting outside Granny's discussing their trip back in time, and he tells her that he's given up the Jolly Roger for her. I don't know why that sounds really dodgy. Does that not sound weird? Anyway, he tells her that he's given up the ship for her, and it's sort of interspersed with Belle and Rumpel's wedding. That's a perfect scene to me. I think that couldn't have been, there's nothing that could have been changed to make that any better. So this scene, the scene in the loft, was almost perfect. I loved her reaction when she ran into the kitchen and was asking where he was, and they didn't know where he was, and there was the momentary panic of, oh my god, has he actually died? and then he appears and he's been his charming, cute, cheeky self, and sort of all of that then happens, and it was just lovely. It was the moment that you'd been waiting for all of this time, and then she ruined it. I know from like, I have to try and look at this from a writer's perspective, and it makes sense because the character of Emma is guarded and she doesn't want to let her walls down, and I think in terms of the people that she's been with in the past, I think her relationship with Colleen is very different, and I think because I want it to be true love and the real deal and all that, I think it makes her even more frightened to tell him how she feels. But it was on the tip of her tongue. She just watched him die. She just said to Regina, I can't believe that I never told him once that I loved him. And then he's sitting there with that little face. Now, I'm going to insert a screenshot here because I just want to say, like, how could you not say to that face that you loved him? How could you do that? How could you do that? I was like, oh. And as I say, from a writer's perspective, I do understand it. From a Captain Swan shipper's perspective, I am very upset. But from a writer's perspective, I get it. I know why they did it. It does stay true to Emma, and it gave the opportunity for a really nice moment-ish at the end of the episode. So yeah, let's talk about the end of the episode. I'm going to find it very weird having if Rumple's heart's been like totally cleansed, because that's what it sort of appeared to be. I know that they've said that they need to wait and see whether or not they can actually help him through this, but if he's going to be nice, I'm going to find that really strange because it's not the character that we've known. And if is it going to revert to before he was the Dark One? So is he going to be a kind of cowardly character? I don't know. I think there's a lot of interesting stuff that they can do with that in season 5, so I am looking forward to seeing that. But I can't cope with Emma being the Dark One. I actually knew that this was going to happen because I saw spoiler pics on Twitter, which I was annoyed about. But behind the scenes kind of shooting stuff, I saw these photos of her holding the dagger and Colleen like standing next to her pleading with her, and I just hoped that somehow that was there to throw us off the scent, or that it wasn't going to turn out to be what it looked like. I just really hoped that somehow that had been misconstrued and that wasn't what was going to happen. So when it did happen, I was gutted. I think especially because of what they've just been through in this episode, so she's just kind of really properly realised how in love with him she is and how she doesn't want to be apart from him and she can't lose him, and then she goes and sacrifices herself for, okay, she's the saviour, I get it, she has to sacrifice herself to save the town, to save Regina, to all that, it's all very nice, but she's just gone and left him. It was really nice that because they left the I love you from the loft scene, it gave a really nice moment just as she was about to, become the Dark One, for her to tell him that she loved him. But there wasn't then time for him to say it back, and that's going to kill him. And I know I sound like an obsessive person here, but it's true. He has loved her for so long, and it should have just been, all I would have wanted was it to be a mutual I love you. So she would have told him, and then he would have told her, and it would have been lovely. And then if they had to go and make her the Dark One, then she could have, swirled up in the black smoke and had the dagger and whatever. I just would have liked to see a kind of exchange of those words rather than her just kind of finally saying them. It was great that she finally said them, but he's just going to be heartbroken, and Snow and Charming and Henry are all going to be heartbroken, and it's just horrible. So when I get over my fangirl inside who is in love with the idea of the happy ending for Hook and Emma, and look at it from an actual story point of view, I think that this was a really clever idea. I think it was a great decision that the writers made to do this, because it opens up a whole new chapter for the story, not only in terms of what's going to happen with Emma, but the fact that up until now, Rumple's been the Dark One, that's what we've been used to, and so now that that's different and that's changed, it really is a whole different ballgame. So I'm very pleased in terms of that. I think that they've done some very clever things there, and they've given themselves the opportunity to do some really interesting stuff in season 5. So I'm very excited for season 5 now. I think Adam and Eddie have been very clever with the way they've played it at the end of this season, and although I was devastated to see what's happening to Emma because she is my favourite character, I think that it's opened up some really nice, interesting paths for the storyline in season 5. I've obviously spent a lot of time focused on the Captain Swan-ness of it, but I really, really love the Robin and Regina stuff as well. The Robin and Zelina wedding, I was like, what is happening? I kind of can't help but love Zelina. I don't want to because she's awful. I didn't love her when she was in it in season 3, but I kind of can't help but love her now. I just think that she's just such a ridiculous character, and I can't help but be entertained by her every time she's on screen. So that wedding, I was just like, no, that can't happen. And Regina, see Regina taking so long to go in and stop the wedding. Now I know it's because she was afraid and she didn't want to be rejected, and also then she went to save Henry, so that's all very nice, motherly love and all that stuff. But she took her time, and it could have been, you know, a disaster, and they could have been trapped in that book forever. Obviously they wouldn't, or that would be the end of the TV show, but yeah, anyway, I'm going to leave it there, or I could just sit and talk about this all day. So as I say, I really hope that you enjoyed that episode. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope that you enjoyed that episode. If you did, let me know in the comments down below. Tell me what your favourite things about it were, what your least favourite things were, what your thoughts are about what's going to happen in the next season. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. I would really appreciate it. And if you haven't subscribed, subscribe for more film and TV related videos coming soon. I hope that you're having a great day, and I will speak to you again soon. Bye! It's something that I've had a reinvigorated desire to watch thanks to Once Upon a Time. Any Once Upon a Time fans will know why, but that is Robin Hood.